Very warm welcome to the second episode of Mind Over Matter. My name is Claire and I'm so happy that you are joining us here today. Mind Over Matter is all about talking to people facing mental health issues in their lives and sharing their stories. Mental health affects so many people, and the more we talk about it, the less taboo it becomes and the more we can help each other. Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It also affects how we think, feel, and act. It also helps determine how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices in our lives. If you're struggling and need support, don't go anywhere. We will be sharing some links at the end of the show today. Today we have some really interesting topics and guests, and I'd like to welcome our first guest, Josiah. Hi Josiah, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm feeling great. Thank you.
Good. So tell us a little bit about your story.
So I grew up in a single parent household. Very hard for just one child to be raised by one parent as well, especially in the environment that we were in, financially struggling as well. But I knew my mum, she was very strong. She held the backbone of our house. And then when it came to like primary school and secondary school, things like that, it was very hard growing up and talking to people. I was sort of like not easy when it comes to making friends, especially in secondary school. I was quite alone a lot.
You're quite shy, yeah? Or introvert, more introvert?
I'm actually more extroverted.
Extrovert? Okay.
Now I'm extroverted.
Okay.
So when it came to socializing in secondary school, I was kind of good at it, but then it also led to me being alone a lot during like my year 11, year 10 stage, because that's when it was GCSE time. I had to focus a lot, but also that's when I was exposed to things like, you know, partying, drugs, alcohol, and stuff like that. So that's when it sort of took like an effect on me for when I would enter into college. And so even before then in year 10, I was involved in relationships, so it took a turmoil on my mental health at a time, but I still had to keep headstrong because I had exams to take and I was not going to let a relationship get to the best of me and in my future.
Was the relationship affecting your mental health, or was it just your general surroundings that was?
General surroundings,
which then affected your relationship, yeah?
Not general surroundings affecting my relationship, but in the terms of like, I knew that in the time it was affecting my headspace. Like some days I'd just be like in my bed, not doing anything. And so like...
You're feeling very down,
yeah.
depressed, yeah.
Then it comes college. I was very like optimistic about college. I thought I could make friends with just about everyone in the classroom. Then here comes, you know, the beef and all of that stuff, and it's like I was basically like the elephant in the room, and when it came to college, because I knew that not a lot of people liked me in the class when I had done absolutely nothing wrong to them. And then came lockdown, which was the hardest bit. It was very hard for me to cope. I was very alone. Despite living in a household with 3 other people, it was very hard. Spiritually speaking as well, there was a moment where I went to, let's say, a motive. And so I was...
So in lockdown, you said you were living with your family,
yeah.
Yes? And so you didn't feel like you could talk to anybody there? Did you have anybody that you could talk to?
I did. I didn't really talk a lot because I was in my room a lot as well. So it was just me playing on my Nintendo, because that was like the one thing I would mainly do, or go on my social media. There was one thing called House Party that we would use. Yeah, we would use it a lot. So
I believe you're doing mental health workshops as well, right? Tell me a little bit about that.
I finished that last year, but what it was is that I was with an organization called Rethink Mental Illness. So we would do mental health workshops across London in schools and colleges. So what we would do in those workshops is that we would teach the young people about CBT, the difference between mental health and mental illness.
So tell us a little bit. Tell me a little bit about the difference between mental health and
So everyone has mental health. It's just our psychological well-being our social well-being and our emotional well-being, how we think about ourselves, how we talk to others, how we approach others, and how do we feel about ourselves as well. Yeah, that's about it really. It's also like our performance, how we view ourselves, what we can do in our lives, and so forth.
Okay, and how did those workshops work out? Was it really powerful for a lot of kids?
Yes, so we end up helping over 1,100 young people in London. We've especially went to schools where it's been really hard for them as well, especially like in some places there might have been an accident happening revolving around the kids as well.
Some trauma.
Even outside of the school, I remember I met one person who something happened to him a while ago, and I was thinking we should have continued the workshops because they stopped in around January last year.
Okay.
But it was a success.
So why did they stop? They should carry on.
I don't know.
You should start it yourself.
I will. I can actually.
Well, I mean, if you had to give one takeaway to some students or people out there on mental health, what would that be?
You have a very powerful tool in here. You have your brain. This generation right now we live in, it likes to go heartstrong, not headstrong, heartstrong. When you are led by your emotions, it tends to lead you into very bad places. And coming from someone who's very passionate, I can definitely say that my heart gets the best of me and I do the wrong thing a lot. But when I calculate my situations and my well-being and my environment, I just think, and I'm just like, I can relax, I can breathe, I can take leisure, I can walk into a situation where I'm not into any pressure or any conflict, and because I think about it, I analyze what's going on, what's in front of me. I have tunnel vision because I don't use my heart. My heart will lead me astray, and also
I have to agree with you 100% because I'm very, very, very similar.
like.
Well, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your story with us today on the Mind Over Matter show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been great having you.
Thank you, you too.
Hello everyone, welcome to Mind Over Matter. My name is Stephanie and I'm a presenter today. And I'm here with Anna, our guest.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Anna, so tell me, what's your story? What brings you here to Mind Over Matter?
Yeah, it was like I was thinking to come or no, but I am very motivated and I start to believe in myself. And I want to help other women to try to get out of the feelings when they are down, when they are not confident, because the life is full of problems. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I am an example to help them to believe in themselves, because this is important, and our health, mental health, it's very important from my life experience. As a parent, yes. I can say this is very important because you have someone in your house who is watching you every day, and yeah, exactly. Yes. So it's like this.
Okay, but apart from being a parent, you're also Anna. So who is Anna?
Yeah, Anna, it's a little girl, a dreamer. Like I always dreaming to, I was dreaming like to become someone, to have a name, to have my personality. And I start to build myself since I moved in this country. I start from zero. Mm-hmm. So I moved here from Moldova with my 3 kids.
Oh, so your kids moved with you over here as well? Okay.
Yeah, so I basically run away from an abusive and violent relationship. Yeah, so I did a good decision, so there is no regrets for me.
Yeah, you definitely took not yourself but also your family out of that situation.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't want to let them to be there because I wanted different life. So
your mental health when you were in Moldova was of course very different from when you came over here.
Definitely.
And the whole mind, like, how was your mind working when you were like planning to move here, but also when you came here? Like, how was it? How did you settle? Because you had no one here, right?
Yeah, there was no one here, and this took me. I was in that relationship like almost 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was making one step on front and then 10 back. So this was because I wasn't confident, and no one is helping you. Maybe they can help with something, but responsibility is on your shoulders, especially with 3 kids. You have to be very strong to move on.
Yes, and that's what you are.
Yeah. So at the end, I said I will try, I will move, and I have to say thank you to my sister and to my brother-in-law because they were here. So I had the support. Yeah.
You and guide you here.
Yeah. At least I had a help. I wasn't like with no one
Stranded
here.
over here without
Yeah.
anyone by yourself.
Yeah. So I don't have regrets. I just want to apologize in front of my kids because I wasn't that strong many years ago and I couldn't protect them. So this is very important.
Of course. And are they all girls? Do you have all girls?
I have
Is
2
it
girls and 1 boy.
2 girls
So,
and 1 boy.
yeah.
So you're also like the first role model that your daughters see as well, right? As a
Yeah,
woman.
yeah.
So how do you bring them up like mentally to be their own women as well?
To motivate themselves and to never give up because the life is full of surprises. This is motivating me. So you have to be ready for everything what will happen in your life. It's difficult, but you can push yourself to do it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And what do you do like right now in your day-to-day life?
I'm working at Heathrow Airport at check-in desk, checking passports. Very confident. Can I have your passport,
Anna
please?
might be checking you guys.
Exactly.
If you're traveling to Heathrow.
Exactly, yeah. And I start to do modeling.
Oh.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I always
When did you start?
hearing people like they saying, "Oh, you look very like a model." So I said, "Yeah, this is in my mind." So when you want to be someone, I think you're acting like that person or who you want to be. So I started from December. I start to have photo shoots, and I cannot stop. I get in love with this video pictures, and I love the results. So I have a big motivation to do it, to be an example for my kids, especially for my daughters, to show them the age it's nothing. It's not a barrier,
Yes.
and you can do things.
So where do you want to see this going now with your modeling? Like, where would you like to take it? What would you like to do with it?
Yeah, this is, I don't know, I was keeping the secrets because at work they don't know. They don't know I'm doing this.
Okay.
And yeah, you know, the proper model, to be a proper model. I love the pictures. I want to see my face.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have, I had a photo shoot recently and I showed to my son and he told me, "Mom, you have to be on the cover, on the cover of the magazine."
Sounds like your biggest supporter.
Yeah, and he was like, I said, "This is the plan."
And how do you handle sort of balancing 2 jobs, being a mom, being yourself as an individual? Like, how does that all work up here? And like, how do you portray it in your day-to-day life?
For me, it's good I love to get up, to get dressed, to prepare myself, because this is giving you more confidence.
Of course.
Yeah, so when
routine.
and it's a pleasure for the people which I'm working with them. So they like when I'm looking good and I'm meeting them with a smile and I'm positive. So this is, I think I will never go back. I wish I was like this 10 years ago.
Of course, but you've seen your journey. You've seen where you struggled and what you've been through. What would you say to women, I guess, in your situation, who was in your situation 10 years ago? They are in that situation now. What advice would you give them?
I will tell them that it's no time to cry or to have regrets or to feel embarrassed. No, they have to find that powerful in their inside and to push themselves to do. If someone is hurting you, you have to show them that you can face it and you have to make them to regret they hurt you or they did something bad to you. So this is the only motivation which will help you to go ahead,
And
to have a
yes,
plans.
to like
Yeah.
keep going
Yeah.
in life. And what was your like biggest motivation to get out of that?
I think my kids.
Your kids.
Yeah, my kids, because I love them. So they are everything for me, and I wanted for them better life. So I couldn't see when they get hurt. So for me was the horrible time when you can watch your child it's hurt and you cannot do anything. So this is giving you the power, which you have to take everything in your hands and to
do what you can
yeah,
with it.
yeah.
And when you came to this country, to the UK, what was your biggest motivators to keep going? Because I'm sure you might have felt lost being in a different country, maybe
Yeah.
not speaking the language the most fluently, the best. How
Yeah.
did you, what was your mind like?
That was difficult for not just for me, for my kids as well, because I was still very down on that period. So for me it was difficult to do something, no language, no experience. So I was no one when I came here. So it was very difficult for me. Again, I have to say thank you to my sister and my brother-in-law, because they support me with this. So I can say I had a panic attacks. I had this feeling. I was stressed. This was like a pressure, which was covering myself. I was afraid for the kids. And at the end, I was thinking, how can I do? Because when you're running from somewhere and you're trying to do it, just pushing yourself to find the power to do it was difficult. But with the kids next to me and with my little family which I had here, I went through this.
You broke all those
Yeah,
barriers.
yeah.
You felt stronger.
Yeah, I felt stronger because I started to have a job, and I saw it can go somewhere. So the thing is, I was working with the people who was speaking my language, and I realized that I will never learn English. So I decided to change my job and to throw away myself on the middle of the lake.
Yeah,
So I
you
went,
really went into a different field to push yourself.
So I changed my job. I passed the interview with an English lady, and I have to say thank you for her, because my English wasn't that good, but she gave me the chance to have a job. So I started to study, to grow up, because I wanted.
Yes, definitely. So you grew up mentally.
Self-motivation, it's very important, yeah.
Of course. And that's one of the biggest things that helps many people get out of that sort of difficult moment in their life where they cannot get out of.
Yeah.
And it's all over here.
Yeah, it's everything in our head. If you are afraid to do something, no one will push you to do it. So you have to face.
You have to be that first person to push yourself.
Yeah, to help. So I have a word like, first you have to help yourself, and then help others. Yeah.
Of course.
But I understood this a bit late. But
That's
it's
okay.
never late.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course. Okay, so this was Anna with me today, and she's just given me a little glimpse of such an incredible, amazing life story from where she came from to where she is now. Thank you for listening to Anna's story, and I hope to see you all again soon on Mind Over Matter. Thank you.
Hi, and welcome to Mind Over Matter. My name is Sophia, and today I've been joined by Anastasia, who's going to talk a little bit about narcissistic relationships and her experience with them. Anastasia, welcome.
Thank you,
Lovely.
Sophia, for having me.
Lovely to meet you. So tell us about your experience with narcissistic relationship and what brings you here today.
So what brings me here today is the fact that I wanted to talk about my past. I was with someone that was very manipulative and toxic because every time we had an argument, it was like I was to blame. And I just felt really, really bad all the time. I lost myself in the process. And there's a fine line between loving someone but accepting that. So and people don't understand that you need to follow, that you should have standards to not accept that, you know. But when you love someone, it's kind of difficult. You kind of accept that torture, and it's mental torture. And I find that with narcissism, it's worse than physical violence, and it's just emotional damage. And you know, and I want to bring that awareness for people who are suffering, to just remember to love yourself and set yourself standards, like, you know, I'm not going to accept this. And to be honest, if anyone is to blame, it's them, because they're the ones that kind of put you through that stress and
Absolutely.
that, you know.
You're not doing it to yourself.
I'm not doing it to myself, exactly. And it's just, it took me a good few years to realise that this person was narcissistic, because I didn't know at first that they were, and they're very good at hiding it as well, you know.
Looking back now, what were kind of the red flags that told you, wait a minute, this person, this behaviour is not acceptable behaviour? What were the things and the mannerisms that they did that kind of stuck out for you?
Yes, so the first thing is love bombing, which is definitely a narcissistic trait. Love bombing is when they, you know, treat you like the world at the beginning. They take you out and they give this impression that they're just, you know, amazing, like too good to be true. But then eventually you start to realise their true colours come out, and it was all fake. So that love bombing was just to reel you in and just to keep you there on lock. That's the first thing. The second thing is, the second trait is gaslighting, making you believe something that is not true. So they would say something to me, but then they would make it sound like you're going crazy, but you're not, you know. Third thing is, I'm always to blame. I'm always the guilty one and they're the victim. So those are the three red flags that I picked up along the way.
And for those watching right now, who may be in a relationship like that and don't necessarily recognise and have just heard what you said, what kind of practical advice could you give them to kind of get out of that relationship or get out of that pattern of abuse?
I mean, so with me, if I can relate it to what I went through, I would say therapy really does help, counselling. Due to this, I was on antidepressants because I was at a really low point, but you know, the GPs don't do anything these days. They just give you medication and then that's it. So I would say talking to someone, therapy, reading books about learning to love yourself. So those things.
And these are the things that you did yourself, that you experienced.
Exactly. And I realised that no, I'm not to blame. You know, if anyone is to blame, it's them for putting me through that. Which is why I created the show, to build awareness so people can relate all over the world.
Absolutely. And recognise that behaviour if it's happening to them.
Yes. So, I mean, apologies if you are going through, if anyone is going through that. It's really not a nice experience.
And what kind of advice would you give to, say, yourself, let's say those years ago? If you could tell yourself some advice, what would you say?
Never trust a person straight away.
That's always good. Yeah, absolutely. Just a general rule.
Yes, never trust someone straight away, and don't put all your eggs in one basket thinking that they're the ones. And if it is too good to be true, listen to your gut feeling.
That's really important, yeah.
Yes, so those are the three things.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Anastasia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anastasia. That was Mind Over Matter, and we hope to see you again for episode 3.
Okay, I'd love to welcome my next guest, Jane Buckle. Welcome! Jane, thanks so much for joining us today. What a character. I've had so much fun chatting with you. So today you're here to tell us a story about the passing of your father and how that has changed your life. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I'm Jane Buckle, aka Janie B. I'm the naughtiest OAP in the UK. There's not much I haven't done, you know?
Yes.
Anyway, my poor old father died in 2014. The anniversary will be tomorrow, 8 years.
Yes.
I looked after my dad for many, many years, and when he died, it broke my heart, and I didn't know what to do. I was a lost soul. And before that, my husband had died in 2011, Jimmy Stockwell. So I decided I was going to not get over my grief, but I went to seek for counselling, and it didn't really work. And then I decided I was going to embrace life. This was my alpha, not my omega. So I joined the Ugly Model Agency, and they started to get me things like I did a video for Wu-Tang Clan. And then I thought, right, I'm going to have to look at my list. Not being funny, there is so much of it that I can't remember it all. But, right, so I started off, and the Ugly Model Agency got it for me in 2015 on Channel 4. OAPs behaving badly. And there is somewhere in amongst
this one. Which one? Yeah.
There's me.
There you are. Let me hold it up.
Shop window. They showed me, you know, playing around in a nightclub, just being crazy. And that is a fancy dress shop, and they have me all dressing up in all different outfits.
Wow.
And that can be seen on my YouTube channel. Then, my exciting one in 2015, I went to the auditions at the X Factor, right? And there were queues upon queues of people, miles and miles. I thought, no chance, because I can't sing for toffee apples, right? But because I dressed up in a PVC outfit, that one
This one here.
Yeah.
Look at this, Born to be Wild.
I'll tell you about that in a minute. With a rubber snake, right, singing Born to be Wild. I met Simon Cowell, and he liked me. Rita Ora said, I'm laughing so much, I've wet my shit. I'm looking forward to this. Nick Grimshaw said it was like watching Britney Spears without her. And Cheryl Cole said, you're a rebel, aren't you? I said, yeah, I'm a rebel. I rock and roll, no sex, no drugs, but just rock and roll. And the most fabulous time anyone has ever had. And that is on my YouTube channel. But if you Jane Buckle, but if you Google my name, it will come up. Yeah. So that is, anyway, the Chat magazine sort of got a hold of that. And that's what they wrote about me, about my dad.
Yes. So really, I mean, the passing of your dad really was a shift in your life, right? And it just made you grab life by the horns and say, I'm not going to take that sadness. I'm going to grab it by the horns, and I'm going to make the best of my life,
That's right?
So these stories now that we're going to share with us, all of these things that you've done.
I'll tell you what happened then. I did Come Dine With Me in 2015.
That was in here as well. This one here.
But
Come Dine With Me.
I had the lowest score anyone has ever had. And when they came to audition me in my house, I told them I couldn't cook. So I did the hippie snake for them. For goodness sake.
Oh, nice.
I got the hippie snakes. I got the snakes, I got the hippie snakes. I snake it to the left.
I snake it to the right. Snake it all about.
Anyway, I got the lowest score, but I was the most entertaining.
Yes, it's always about the entertainment.
You can see that on my YouTube channel, my website, janebuckle.co.uk. Oh my God, did I do a lot. And then after that, the Ugly Model Agency got me Sports Relief. Where I met all the big stars. I was a cheerleader for Paddy McGuinness, right? Then I did Party Pensioners, which was got from the on Channel 5.
Yes.
That was great fun. It more or less shows you my life story, you know, what I get up to at the agency.
Yes.
All those things. And then I started going to Big Brother's bit on the side. So if Big Brother, you're out now and you're listening, I want to be on that show. I'll shake your house. I'll rock your house. Anyway, I met Ryan and I used to dress up. There's a picture of me in my outfit.
This one here? No.
What have we done with it?
This one here?
No, that one.
This one?
No, that one.
We got it. Okay, great. This is the gorgeous one of you. Yes,
well,
this is what you...
That's how I would dress you.
Yes.
And Ryland said, you come out. So I stood up and I thought, what on earth am I going to do? So I went, Rylan, can I do a twirl? Go on, darling. So I do a twirl on one leg. I can't do it like that. And I do the splits, right? And James Jordan said, I think it winked at me. I mean, it was incredibly funny. Big brother, you really need me in your house. Then I went off to Kathmandu.
Yes.
In Happy Days.
Yes, you were just saying, that's amazing. What is Kathmandu like? Incredible.
A third world country. Very underprivileged, very poor.
Yes.
But the producer, Milan Chams, he is the top film producer out there for the Nepalese film industry. And that was about me, an old bird, and I have this young man this Nepalese young man as my servant. But we have more than, we have a bit naughty stuff. And I get pregnant by him.
Oh, what?
He leaves me in the lurch. Anyway,
Fantastic, I need to watch that.
Happy Days. And then, what did I do then?
Here we go.
Oh, hang on. Then I did Secret Sexual Fantasies in 2017, where I put bad men, if they're disrespectful, this was my idea, I put them in a cage. And I only let them out for cooking, cleaning, and gardening. That's gone viral.
I like that. It's a bit of a feminist twist there.
Yeah. I did some speed dating for Channel 4 on the Eamon Holmes show with Roman Kemp. Now, Roman Kemp's a very sweet young man. So I thought, I'm going to rap this young man. So I did my rap. That's so grannies, we're so sweet, we're so nice. No more life, we're not fast. Legs and buns in the air and a trice. We ain't mice, we shake the dice. Anyway, that went, I can go on and on. I'm a rapper as well.
I know, you mentioned, that's very good.
Loads of raps. Then, I did Tattoo Fixers.
Yes.
Okay, well, because I've been on the X Factor, they just did a tattoo specially for me, which I'm going to show you it now. Young Alice did this for me. It's a snake. I can't show you any other.
It's nice. Yeah, very nice.
Right?
Yep.
Now, you might not believe that, but I was cocky. When she was doing the black, I was like, I said, you were like... She started putting the colour in.
Oh, but I like the colour.
It hurt. Oh,
I like the colour.
I've got my snake in front of me. I'm laying out like this. And I want to go home. Oh, this is hurting me. Ooh. Anyway, after that, 1 minute, there's more coming. More.
Oh, yep.
1 minute. What have we got here?
Here we are.
Then I did, hang on, I missed that, Steph Don's show, 1 to 5 stars.
Oh, Steph Don, okay.
And she said to me, you stay as naughty as you are.
Yes, absolutely, why not?
Then, hang on, then I did Brits on the Pool in Benidorm in two separate stages. I filmed out in Benidorm and I went out there to get a job as a rapper in a bar. So all is going well. Anyway, I practiced my acts on the streets. People didn't understand it and they were like, ooh. Anyway, I ended up at the Showboat Bar for an audition like the X Factor.
Yeah.
And they said, we've not ever seen anything like it. Because it was like I was rapping, I was dancing. That's on my YouTube channel and that is on all over my website, janebuckle.co.uk. But I had a great time out there. But the problem was, the night after we first filmed, we were going to film the next day, I ate loads of fish. Mountains amount of it. So I felt really ill the next day and they looked at me, you don't look too good. And I thought, I don't feel too good. But I said, the show must go on.
I said that this morning as well.
It was rapping and anyway, they did accept me, you know. Sorry. How did that happen, eh? It would only happen to me, wouldn't it? 1 minute. I was on Naked Attraction with my vajazzle and that went quite viral and Tom Jones thought it was a tattoo. That was on, sorry. I can't seem to turn it off. Hang on. Fuck off. Hang on.
Yeah, can I help you?
Yeah, thanks.
Let's just hang it up.
Dear.
And then this is a Samsung, right?
Yeah.
Do you know how to work a Samsung?
You're gonna drop down the menu up
here. Yeah, up here.
No, I can turn it off. Hang on.
Just put it on silent. That's
Hang on. No, it won't. Put it. Throw it out.
Okay, I'll give it to him. He can do it for you.
Yeah,
Here we go.
right,
Here we
thank
go. Here we go, darling.
Here. So basically, I've been I've been on Celebrity Juice recently. That was the latest thing. And what I wanted to say, I'm in a film called Altogether Tavern.
Yes, there we go, that one there.
These people are brilliant. They've raised a lot of money for mental health issues, and I'm helping with that. And Walking's brilliant. And I have a good part in this film. I'm the mother, and I do a little rap. Walking, talking, no, hang on. Altogether Tavern, let's walk, let's talk. Let's get together and discover what it's like to care for each other, just like me, Margie's mother.
Nice, nice, nice. And this one here, we haven't chatted about this one. Was this also?
And that was Brits.
Oh, okay.
No, that was OAPs, Behaving Badly.
Okay, fantastic.
That was, in there. I've done so much stuff.
So, okay, so...
Just Google my name,
So,
Jane Buckle.
okay, so I mean, I think the takeaway from this is that don't, you know, really, when adversity or loss or death happens, it can really be devastating to a lot of people. I know I've lost my father as well, and you really just have taken the, you know, the bull by the horns and just really gone for it and really live life to the fullest. So, I mean, what a character, and you've achieved so many things. Oh my gosh. It has been so fun to interview you. It's been so amazing to hear all of your achievements, and I wish you all the success for all the things coming up. Thank you, Jane. Can I help you out? Let me help you up, darling.
All right. Oh, now we've got to put all this back.
Good afternoon, it's Anastasia. Welcome to Mind Over Matter, episode 2. Thank you for staying tuned. I am here to interview Josiah. Now, he is our special guest today, and he will be sharing his mental health story, and hopefully he can give you some advice moving forward. Hi, Josiah. Thank you for, you know, coming onto the show. And if you could just explain your story, if you have one, and yeah.
Okay, so whilst I was working in 2021, I had been optimistic about my life ahead. I thought I was going to get somewhere in life. However, it didn't seem like the best. There were, you know, a bit of fights at home, and then, you know, at work as well, I wasn't around like the best crowd of people. It was affecting my mental health to the point where I started, you know, clubbing, drinking excessively, and at the time I was delivering mental health workshops as well, so it would then be like...
I went through that phase as well. We always turn to alcohol, or we turn to something when we're really depressed. Yeah.
And I'd say to that is that physical solutions don't account for internal problems. So whatever is physical, you use something physical to heal that problem, but what is internal, for something like my mental health, I would then need to dive deep into myself and more about who I am. But I didn't find that out until I decided to quit my job and focus more on my career and more on my religious background. So I go to church, I read my Bible, and I study the Word of God, and I realized about who I am, more of myself, more of where I come from, who I come from, and I then realized that the drinking, the partying, the clubbing
doesn't help.
No, doesn't.
It actually just makes you worse. And alcohol is a depressant. You know, you might feel good for the moment, but then when you get home, it's back to square one again.
And I realized that I was teaching, you know, I remember one night, it was year 7s or year 8s or year 9s, I was teaching about mental health, and on that same night, I'm down in the booze, and I'm like, I had to even get G-checked by someone, and I was like, Josiah, you mustn't be drinking. I used to go through the same thing as you, and I was like, and then now I look back on in the years that I was passing, I was like, I really have come a far way, because if I had not, you know, quit my job, when I quit my job was when I stopped partying, because I had no access to it. So when I was focusing on my career, I was developing a schedule for myself where I was using my mind more than my heart, because my heart will lead me left and right, whereas my mind, I was focused.
Yes, and sometimes we should forget about our heart and listen to our mind. And have you considered, to make you feel better, listen to like motivational speakers? Because that really helps me.
Not in the sense, so I usually just, well, in the sense, going to church is not, I don't go for motivation, but I go to learn and to refuel my spiritual life, because that's where most of my problems lie. Because what if I can solve my spiritual life, then I can solve my physical life as well.
Yes.
So even in going to church, but also applying what I hear outside of it, it helps. And also it also helps to then help others as well, because I know that's one thing I'm good at, which is helping others. I know that I can be a bright space around people, so even in learning, I then know how to motivate others as well, so I can pass on whatever I learn.
So what's the best advice you can give people out there?
So the best advice I can give is to always use your mind before you act upon something. Think, is this good for me or is it bad for me? I want something out of it, but what do I need out of it? What can I do that will ensure I get the best possible outcome of this situation? Because this generation nowadays, everyone is on a want thing. I want. And it's like, there's no I need. Like, I'm on social media, I'm on Snap, I'm on Insta, and I'm seeing everyone, they're desiring their wants, they're not desiring their needs. And it's like, you need help, and it's like, you don't want help. So you need to then figure out, what can you do? Because if I can't help you, how can you help yourself? If you can't help yourself, how can you help others? It's like saying, how can I love myself?
It's so true. And you know, with the mind, there's a conscious mind and then there's a subconscious mind, which motivational speakers talk about that a lot. And the subconscious mind is the mind that is bad for us. That is the voices in our head telling us to make us think negative, if that makes sense. But we're conditioned to sort of believe that subconscious mind. And Tony Robbins, he talks a lot about that, and he's my inspiration. Like, he's a really good motivational speaker. And Steve Harvey, he's amazing as well. But yeah, so that's, have you got anything else that you want to share?
Trust your thoughts, not
your heart.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And that's all for our guest today. And hopefully we will see you again in episode 3. But thank you very much. And stay tuned for more Mind Over Matter.
Thank you, Josiah, for your inspirational story. I will now welcome Natalie to share her story and her coping mechanisms of what she's struggled with throughout her life so far. Hi, Natalie. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Did you travel far today?
About an hour.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, not too bad.
So tell me about yourself and why you're here.
So I'm Natalie. I am a self-care, self-love and mental health coach. Having suffered with my own mental health for many years, I have now overcome them, and I can now help other people with their own mental health. So that's what I feel very passionately about, that it's my mission to contribute to help solving the global mental health crisis.
Yeah, of course. And obviously this show is surrounding mental health, and what would you define mental health as from your experiences, or just a general overview?
Well, everyone has to manage their own mental health. I don't think there's anyone in the world that has not struggled in some aspects of their mental health at any point in their life. For me, I've struggled with PTSD from a traumatic experience, postnatal depression after having my son, and anxiety and depression, and sadly suicide, which obviously I'm still alive today, so I'm very grateful to still be here. And I just think there's so many people out there struggling, battling and suffering needlessly.
Yeah.
And I think if we can get the tools and the coping mechanisms, or the healthy coping mechanisms out there, then people won't struggle as much.
And from your experience, what would you say your coping mechanisms were? Because obviously there's different alleyways you can do it, and you can do natural remedies, or you can get prescribed medicine. So if you would share, how did you cope with the struggles you went through?
So for me, at one point I did need medication, but I very quickly moved on from that, because it was quite scary that I couldn't feel my emotions.
Yeah.
It kind of numbed me, and that's not healthy. So I had to basically take myself on a self-care journey and self-love journey. So from a really dark place, I knew, for my son's sake, else I wouldn't exist anymore. I had to just find scheduling time every day to do something for myself that was healthy, that made me feel good, that made me happy. For me, I love dancing, I love music, so I make sure I do those things on a regular basis. I listen to music every day, it fills me up with, you know, good vibes. I had to get up at 5 in the morning. At my lowest, I had to get up really early just for some peace and quiet on my own, to meditate, do a bit of yoga, so just some real simple, easy exercise just to get my body moving, move that energy around, and it makes you feel good. You know, set off those feel-good chemicals in your brain. So instead of, you know, some people try and cope with drinking, eating, you know, unhealthily, smoking, numbing with, I don't know, TV, or just going out all the time just to try and block it out, but that's actually not the healthiest way. So for me, I just did all the things that made me feel good and made me feel happy, eating better. I won't, you know, pretend I eat perfectly all the time. I still love chocolate and a good takeaway. Absolutely, you know, you still got to socialise and feel, you know, connect with people. And that's another thing. I felt like I was alone, suffering on my own. But actually, when you connect with other people, that's how you can know that you're not on your own. And actually, everyone's struggling on their, you know, with their own stuff. That we don't have to suffer on our own, because if we just connect and talk to each other, and, you know, talk therapy is very good anyway, you know, but if you know the tools, you know, breathing exercises to alleviate your anxiety, know what makes you feel good, and reach and take action to make sure you do those things that make you feel better.
So would you say you're probably a big advocate of just finding something that suits you, instead of just going down the normal journey?
Walks in nature, getting a bit of sunshine, get some fresh air. It's the simplest things, but actually it will change your life. Meditating, just quieting your mind. You know, all this stuff that we watch on TV, there's so much negative stuff on the news. What we consume is actually, it becomes our reality, because if we think negatively, you know, all this fear mongering of what's happening in the world, you know, the financial crisis and everything is actually making people more fearful and more worried, and that's obviously in turn making everyone's mental health worse. So I try and be really conscious of what I put in my brain and what I listen to. So I listen to a lot of positive podcasts and audio books and YouTube videos. I love a bit of Tony Robbins. Just put inspiring, positive, motivating stuff in your brain, and your thoughts become things. So
and obviously, again, so meditation and finding a natural remedy is hard to do, because a lot of people struggle to actually just zone out and not think about anything and meditate. How did you take a minute and actually just think about yourself and be silent?
It's really hard. I still struggle with it now, especially if I'm just getting on with life and putting my son's needs first, as any mother would. But actually, if you don't fill your own cup, you can't pour into other people. And that happened to me recently. I was just doing and doing and doing, and I didn't do anything for myself, and I became really poorly. So that was, you know, I'm still learning my lessons. Sorry, what was the question again?
Just meditation and how you actually were able to take a minute, because obviously everything's going 100 miles an hour.
Yes,
your mum,
that's the
job.
one. Yep.
So how did you just like sit there and breathe?
So I was the overwhelmed working mum. So I worked a full-time job, trying to, you know, do everything for everyone, run the household, cooking, cleaning, shopping, picking my son up from nursery at the time, doing the dinner, bath, bed routine, put him to bed, and then I'm literally like left surrounded in mess and toys. Like, I don't know any mums that have a pristine house, but when you're so exhausted, doing everything, overwhelmed, you can't seem to catch a break, and then you're just left with your dark thoughts. And for me, sadly, it was only 2 years ago that I literally was in that dark place and thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this every day and feel like I'm just struggling. And you know, sadly, I made real plans to end my life, and it was just heartbreaking, because I thought, how I can't do that to my son. I can't leave him without a mum. And so that was my breaking point, and I was just like, I need to help other women overcome this feeling. And I'm sure there's so many mums out there feeling like, this is enough, this is too much, I can't do it. I mean, I've only got one son, but there's mums out there that have 3, 4 kids, like, they're superheroes, you know. But when you just stop and are in that place of darkness, it's really hard.
Sorry.
It's good.
Getting emotional. But that is an inspirational story to hear, because there will be many women out there, and men as well, that are struggling and don't have that breakthrough. And obviously, since you've had that breakthrough and you've worked on yourself, and congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
And have you done anything with that?
Yes.
Practices, or?
So since then, I, you know, from meditating and just pouring into myself, going within, really making myself feel better, taking the real simple steps, walking, exercise, you know, going back to dance. I didn't dance for 10 years, and that was the one thing that I loved, that made me feel really good. And I went back to dancing, and that naturally I was connecting back with old friends and things like that. I've done a show and everything since.
Wow.
I love performing, and so since then, so I got confidence. I started going to conferences and business conferences and training. I did coaching training, so I'm now a certified coach, and I now help. Well, at the moment, I'm focusing on overwhelmed working mums, because I was one. But I've got some other projects that I've got on the go, or just starting, which is exciting. One of which is a community interest company. KIC is called Hidden Me, and the other director and I, so there's 2 directors, I'm one of them. We will be delivering a service for young people and young adults with a hidden disability or mental health difficulty. We'll provide them some support, some counselling, and, you know, inspiring motivational people to come in and do some talks, and also help them learn and develop some skills to get them into employment, because there's a gap between you know, mandatory school or college and adulthood. And if they haven't got the skills because of their barriers with their mental health or their disability, there's a gap, and we need to fill that gap to enable them to live a life they want.
A tough barrier to break, because you're struggling and then you get over it, and you've been away from the community and life so long that you might not know how to break back into it, and then that could just send you back down. So that's really inspirational. It's powering.
Thank you.
So if you were to have a piece of advice for people struggling, or anyone who's in your situation or feels like they're going down a rough cycle, what would you suggest or advise?
Reach out for help. do not go through it on your own. There is always someone with a listening ear. I'm certainly one of them.
Yeah.
You can DM me or contact or go on a quick Zoom call with me, and we can go through some tools and techniques that can help you when you're feeling anxious, depressed, in a really dark place. I know what works for me, and I know what's worked for my clients, and I'll take you through a 12-week program that can help you break through your mental health difficulties, and in turn you will learn for your kids' sake. When we learn how to manage our own mental health, we can then teach our kids so they can become healthy, happy adults as well.
And that's important, isn't it? What you know, learning it and then teaching it.
Absolutely. And also, just to add that in March is International Women's Month, or Women's History Month this March. And I have been specially selected out of like 1,000, thank you, to be an expert speaker for women, to inspire and encourage other women to rise and thrive. And I've joined forces with 40 plus international women.
Wow.
I know, it's crazy.
That is amazing.
An amazing opportunity. And so we're coming together to do a virtual summit. It's called Women Thrive Summit. You can just log on womenthrivesummit.com, and you can join us for free. Watch 40 plus inspiring, motivational women telling their story and how they overcame, or ways they have overcome something or can help you in your difficulties in business, spirituality, relationships, all sorts. And I will be there to share my story and inspire other people too. So I'm excited. March 20th to 24th of March.
Okay, it's in the diary.
Yay.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story. It was inspirational.
Thank you.
And I hope our viewers can learn something from lovely Natalie.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the show and have learned something inspirational from our stories. I just wanted to say a very special thank you to all of our guests who have come on the show and been brave enough to share their stories. Furthermore, if you are struggling with any mental health issues or need to talk to someone, please feel free to use our helpline displayed on your screens now. Also, our Mind and Matter have social media platforms. Please feel free to follow them to help raise more awareness for people struggling. Stay tuned for episode 3, where we will be including mental health games and challenges with prizes included. That's all for now from me, Katie Mackay.